2, and we are live. Yes, today our guest John Champion and a new look mission log live, and some what's that show? Starfleet Academy. Today on Trekland Tuesdays live. Bing. Number 434. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Yes. Hey, everybody. It's a little bit more sanity, clarity, and a bigger picture from all things Star Trek right here from the home of Trekland. And if you're so willing, a TreklandTreks.com, your own customized away mission here in Southern California that I, concierge, help you set it up. We'll have an awesome day. It's a memorable experience unlike any other out there. Yes, yes. All that at Trekland. And I'm so excited I forgot my shtick. It's been a while since we've had a guest. I think John's going to be the first one of our new year, and he's anxious. And here's the thing, guys. I don't know if you've noticed this, but we have Star Trek history on the Trek Files. Portal 47 is all about backstage folks, and everybody else. That's what I love about Trekland Tuesdays Live. We've got authors. We have people with quirky Star Trek hobbies. We have all kinds of fun stuff here. And I can't think of anybody better to finally, why in nearly 8 years have we not had this guy on with us? So, John, thank you, man, so much for joining me.
Here I am. Thank you for having me on. About damn time.
I know. Well, this thing has grown. It's only been a guest era since the pandemic. And Restream. I went to Restream and I could do this because I was one of the original. I'm on Facebook Live and scrolling to see comments on my.
Oh yeah.
Or it goes back, but I have them all, and boy, do they look like it.
Okay, you'll have to share those with me because I can't see them, but I'm anxious to hear who's in the chat and what they're saying.
They are tucked away.
All right.
Yeah. So, I didn't give a shout out to our TTL community gang. That's one thing I forgot to do. Hey, this is why I do it this time of day, because we've got folks from all around the world joining us. If you are new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, welcome. However you found us here. If you're one of the veterans, you know already. Jump in the chat. Let us know where you're from. How's the weather? Where you are? How's the trek where you are? Because it can be scattered. That's why I love having the global impact here of global fans, because they keep the Americans on that. They keep us honest because they're going through a different situation than we are. And boy, there's different layers to that too, as we talk about fandom and global issues and things. And if you are new, remember, YouTube is your best way to come in. I am still multi-streaming. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, you can see all the comments in the chat. If you're on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook, all right? Also, if you're on YouTube, I'm monetized. I have a little Patreon. We don't do it a lot, but I always appreciate throwing a little bit in to help support the Trekland streaming empire here, as it were. And listen, if you are watching us later on YouTube, that's awesome. You can drop a comment in, keep the conversation going. We live in conversationally times. I have noticed even my YouTube later conversations have spiked here in recent weeks. I guess it has something to do with that new show. John, it may have something to do with that new show. But if you're watching us later, please leave a comment. And maybe someday you can watch us live. I know it's hard in the States in the afternoon if you're working, but if you can, join us. It's 1-ish Pacific time, 4-ish Eastern. And yes, that means 8-ish UK time and 10-ish in Central Europe. John, I'm through the shtick.
All right. That was good shtick.
You have some news. The first thing I thought about doing this was I am always happy to boost everybody's signal, especially when it's one of my best friends and my producer for the Trek Files.
Yeah,
and the network that I work with over there, Roddenberry.
The disembodied voice on the Trek Files. Yeah.
But it's a disembodied voice we're so familiar with, as is your co-host, is another disembodied voice.
Yeah, Jessica. So for years and years and years, Jessica has been the ID voice of Roddenberry podcast, but now way bigger participant, coming in as kind of a co-producer with me and heading up our new YouTube ventures. And one of those ventures being Mission Log Reactor. Look, Mission Log Live hasn't gone away, but we needed to change it up a little bit. We had to meet the market where it is. And we had to meet YouTube where it is now, which is a different animal than it was in 2017
Yes.
when we started covering Star Trek Discovery, quite frankly. So, yeah, so we do this thing now where we can get out there the day that Star Trek Starfleet Academy drops. So first thing in the morning on Thursday, as soon as the embargo lifts, we're out there with Reactor. Then we come back on Monday nights and do the live chat. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to watch the episode, watch our reaction show, and then we can much more casually deep dive what people are thinking. And you joined us last night, which was a blast.
Yes, I hadn't done that in a while too. Thanks. Yeah, it was chilly, and I got Jessica was complimenting on fashion. I'm like, I'm just trying to stay warm here. Are you kidding? Yay.
Yeah.
But no, just for everybody to catch up. Now, look, folks, if you have not been keeping up with the Roddenberry podcast world,
I mean, come
at least
on.
hopefully you're watching Trek Files. But if not, Mission Log as an audio podcast has been around.
That's the flagship show. August 2012, we launched with the Cage TOS, and we've done everything through Voyager. And now we're in a hiatus. And apologies, I get emails every day saying, "When are you coming back? When are you coming back? When are you coming back?" Please follow our socials at Mission Log Pod, pretty much everywhere, or at Roddenberry Podcast. We will make an announcement soon-ish. But we needed a little time off, needed a break. We're going to come back and start covering Enterprise in the traditional Mission Log format. So we will be there for you.
You took a break after Voyager, unlike what UPN would let Rick and Brandon do after their show ended, and they wanted a year off.
Exactly. We've only been off a couple of months, and but we've had some supplementals in there. And then honestly, just to get Mission Log Reactor launched, took a little time, took a little effort. Jessica and I now are finally recording ahead on that. So that gives us a bit of breathing room, and we can shift our attention back to Mission Log.
Well, Mission Log Live, the original, it's been on Monday nights for when did you start?
2017, as soon as Discovery started.
There you go.
And remember, there was that year plus, where we had 54 straight weeks of uninterrupted new Star Trek.
Really?
Yeah. Seems like ancient history, right?
Throw it on the wall and it all stuck.
My God, I'm so glad we have a break now. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, you were just like the original Mission Log Live was pioneering because you had call-ins.
Yep.
You had people in live Monday night, fans joining, which was something I envied. I'm still, Ollie and I had that for a little bit on Life Support Live, and then no one ever wanted to call in, so we just went by. But I always loved the way you could have that, and you still have that feature. Now you've retooled.
Yep.
Mission Log Live is still Monday night, but it also meant, as you said, you had to wait from Thursday to Monday to comment.
Right.
And the foam has started to settle a little bit.
And honestly, so it's this double-edged sword. That's what was killing us in YouTube, is that if we're waiting that many days to get a reaction out there, you're nobody sees it at all. But we wanted our listeners to have the chance to be able to watch the show, absorb it. Maybe they watch a couple of times, maybe they're forming their thoughts. So Monday night was ideal for that, catch you right in between the week of the release of the new episode. So now this might be a format we stick with. We'll see. It's all free. Either way, you can get the early preview show by joining Patreon as a paid subscriber, but it's all free regardless. Even if you join, even if you're not paid, you still get live, you still get Reactor. Yeah.
And if you're in Patreon, that means you're in the same Patreon that you can join to be part of all the Roddenberry communities, including the Trek Files.
Including the Trek Files, every other Monday live with Dr. Trek. But yeah, look, it's an interesting thing. And
can I show this off? Can I just compliment
go ahead,
on the promo for what's happening? If you haven't, everybody, if you haven't, there we go. If you haven't seen,
wait, here it is. There we are.
Okay. If you hadn't seen the new campaign, so Reactor is the name of the Thursday. That's just you and Jessica.
This is me and Jessica
reacting to the show. Hopefully with screeners ahead of time.
And breaking format a little bit. So what I like about that is, we get to watch the screeners several times over, and we're doing an act by act breakdown, but we're jumping in immediately with our thoughts. So we want to keep it really tight. We're not doing extensive plot details. We're kind of setting the scene. Here's what happens. here, who's doing what, and then we can jump in with our immediate thoughts. Then look, not by design, it just kind of happened. I've been going in at the end with kind of a final thought, and those have challenged me a bit, because I don't want to do the full mission log thing yet. If Rod has his way, we will in several years come back around to Starfleet Academy and do the full mission log episodes about Starfleet Academy.
I don't think you've got anything to worry about repeating.
No. Yeah.
Fandom will turn over. Our perception will have turned over by
well, that's what's fascinating, is you come back to something years later, after it's settled, after everybody has absorbed it. Definitely fresh perspectives. But yeah, I've been noticing in Academy, I will have very strong reactions right away. And I don't know if you're like this too, or people in your audience. I'll have very strong reactions right away. Oh, I love this.
Oh, I was going to say, everybody, it's a guest day, so we'll spout here for a minute, and then we'll dive into the chat sooner than I normally do when I'm doing my soapbox.
Yeah. Topic. But you know, I tend to watch an episode and just feel like, oh, this is the best, or this is the worst, or whatever. But then 3 times later, and after taking my notes, then I can take a step back and really formulate what I hope is the sign-off kind of big idea. What are we getting? What's at the heart of this episode? What should we take away from it? And I got to tell you, with Academy, as divisive as it has been online, I've found some what I think are very interesting topics to deep dive. And I hate to tease it like we did last night, but folks, hang on for episodes 4 and 5, because there's a lot of interesting stuff covered there.
Well, yay! I want everybody to hear. I wanted to boost your signal for the new mission log.
Well, thank you.
Sure that everybody knew about. If you, for one thing, Monday night is for Patreon. You can watch it live in any case, but to comment.
Anybody can watch it live. Anybody can comment. It's all free for the taking. We're just treating Patreon more as a content platform. A lot of people, they hear Patreon and they think, oh, okay, I'm just going to get nickel and dime and just going there to pay money. Yes, you're helping us if you donate $1. Yes, absolutely. We want to keep the shows going. It is also a content platform. So everything from Roddenberry Podcast can go there. The Trek Files goes there every Tuesday, fresh with the RSS feed, with the documents, with everything. So
the only
join us
podcast
there.
with homework.
Yeah. Exactly. So, join us there. Again, you don't have to pay, but we appreciate it if you do, because that means we can do more. You know,
right. And then Reactor is on Thursday. I've just
Reactor Thursday mornings.
So some things are basically the same. Some are new. It's a new mix, and you all are out there faster on. But what you mentioned here about, I had one of those effects talking about multiple viewings already with. Granted, it's a new series. There's a lot ladled on. We're taking in a lot of exposition.
Exactly.
And it's not just new characters. It's supposedly a new century, a new technology. And I say that it is. I'm having little squee fan moments when I realize they've actually come up with something that distinguishes the century from anything we've seen before.
Sure.
And it makes sense. But I had a huge whiplash effect on Vitus
Reflux.
Vitus Reflux.
Yeah.
Because I saw it in 2 parts. And the first part, I was like, okay, well, it's inevitable. We're going to have the college kids hijink shenanigans. Yeah. Slapping around the beautiful young bodies, banging on each other. Well, in more ways,
that too.
I meant this. Well, I meant anyway.
Yeah.
And then I sat down for part finally, and I went, "Oh, this did a turn," and we got a lot of character moments. But even that whole the heist. Sorry, guys, spoilers. The heist motif. The last half, which they did. They pulled off all. It was as good as Our Man Bashir. Pulling off the John, all the spy movies. It was the bit with the music and the editing and the framing. So, yes, but so much stuff about the show. But let's stop. I thought, you mentioned this too, the world's reaction, I felt like since 2017, 2018, that was all a function of reflecting social cultural discord and divisions, but also people monetizing the internet.
Sure.
And algorithms. And I felt like in hindsight, a lot of people were, a lot of old fandom was blindsided by the negativity and the people paying attention. And then it did start, and there was a lot to talk about as Discovery premiered, and then Picard, and then Strange New, and the two animated. And I felt like we kind of moved on from the extreme of that. And then lo and behold, here comes Academy. And it's all back at this huge, governmental DC level.
I mean, that's the weirdest part for sure.
So what is it that Academy is just like things did not totally change, that we're back? Is it a backhanded compliment that we're back in the spotlight so much?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of factors at play here. And I think what's interesting is that well before Academy had gone on the air for the public to see, you had these very loud voices intently trashing the show and even a poster or an image or whatever. And unfortunately, that sets the stage, and it does taint the public perception of what this show is about. And the angriest voices tend to be the loudest. They tend to get the most attention. And that's really unfortunate. You can point to many examples in Hollywood history where even just an early bad review, pre-social media, can tank a movie or tank a TV show. And it's unfair then that people have to wait maybe years and years to come back and rediscover it and go, oh, wait, this is actually kind of good. Or it speaks to me in a different way than it did that reviewer.
And even in a 3-channel universe, I'll say, or even in a box office world where you had 3 or 4 or 5 new movies a week, whatever. It was hard to break through even, like famously, what's one? Cheers. Sat there for a year and no one knew about it. And finally toward the end, it could have, and by all rights, by then it could have been yanked. But it held up. It had one executive hanging in for it, like probably Star Trek did at the time. But you have one person who's championing it and holds it until it can find an audience. And now it's so much harder. Now you've got the 5,000 entities. You've got TikTok videos, much less full-length dramas.
Well, that's the thing. The marketplace is so crowded. There are so many things to watch and so many channels and so many outlets competing for your attention. That's just going to be hard anyway. And we have this kind of hot take commerce where whatever is the loudest, the angriest, the most aggressive, that gets the attention online. But our memories
attracting.
But our memories are really short, though. Somebody mentioned in the live show last night that it took 2 seasons for Next Gen to really find its footing. And then, of course, the end of season 3 just blew up like crazy. But it took that long for people to get acclimated to that show. Fast forward a bit from that, and I remember and
overcome the original series folks who felt like they were being erased.
Of course.
Because you're calling this Star Trek and it's not Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Of course, And then in the, say, early 2000s, 2010s, whatever. Now, I remember at one time realizing that there was a lot of negative online attention to Enterprise, but I wasn't really that engaged with that online discourse. I knew it was there. But then I started watching Enterprise on my own, and I was like, oh, they're actually doing some good stuff here, So I didn't have to be affected by that. But then, there are a number of series that have come out in the last, 15 years or so, where to me, the thing that I always heard was give it 6 episodes. Like if something wasn't quite engaging with me, just give it 6 episodes. And then I realized oh, wait, now I'm immersed in who the characters are, what kind of story they're trying to tell. That's great. I don't need to make my judgment based on a poster. I don't need to make my judgment based on a single episode. I can actually give things time to breathe, and try as hard as I can to ignore the worst bad actors online, because it is a lot of what we're seeing is just bad faith argumentation.
A lot of it's not even that. A lot of it's calculated, just clickbait, commerce chasing, and they don't care. And you can tell, because I said, look, guys, give it 6 months. Will they still be there by the time we get to episode 10? By the time this little season is finished, they'll have moved on to something else, soaked up all they can from you, and whatever little army feels good in that cesspool of just whatever it is, negativity.
Yeah.
magnet.
And I will say this, look, the thing that we always try to do on Mission Log, and look, we can point to any number of terrible TOS episodes and any number of terrible TNG episodes. They're out there, Star Trek fans, if you're being honest, But the thing is, we're trying to take those episodes and discuss them based on that episode's intent. And what is the heart, the philosophy, the moral, ethical dilemma? What is the social statement, et cetera? Look, sometimes there might be episodes that just don't do that. And every series is entitled to at least a couple of those where they're just not trying to make a statement. That's okay. That's fine. Might just be fun.
They're trying to get a show on the air especially in the network days.
Exactly.
NBC in the original series.
Exactly.
It was just
right,
haunting them and chasing them, and Hey, even and the children's show lead, we got the Federation banner.
Of course, right. Yeah.
The grave marker.
But I want to meet them where they are. I want to meet these episodes where they are and take them on their own terms and have a discussion about the ideas, not have a discussion about how the captain sits in the chair. I do not give a crap. I don't care with every fiber of my being, or wearing glasses. Do not care. I watch Captain Kirk wear glasses over and over again in the movies.
Yes. Well, look, the whole civilization is not wearing glasses. So apparently, but we've had 2 cases here.
Yeah, but if you're allergic to Retinax 5, or you just happen to like the way good-looking pair of frames frames your face.
I don't know. She has her glasses. Our young cadet Holloway has glasses. The guy in the gel scene.
Yeah.
So it's obviously an individual. There must be a special circumstance. And I get back to texture, not trivia on those things. Look, it's there. It must be there for a reason. Now, did they give you a reason? They didn't? Okay, 1, 2, 3, and go. Come up with
that. Okay, that's the other thing that is real. I guess shocked, not shocked, is that the reactions. And look, I in a moment of weakness, in a moment of personal moral weakness, I went to YouTube and I read the comments. And there was somebody, I know, and there was somebody going off on the fact that you have a character, Laura Thok, who is half Klingon and half Jem'Hadar. And so very upset, so very worked up, because we know that the Jem'Hadar from our DS9 background, they're genetically manufactured. There are no females. They don't reproduce. They have this limited lifespan. They have to be on Ketracel white, et cetera, et cetera. And this listener was so very worked up because Laura Thok could not exist and there was no explanation. I thought, do we not have 800 years worth of imagination as fans? You and I were talking on the live show last night, like that gap, that empty space after TOS went off the air is what gave us things like the technical manual, the medical. That's one of my favorite ones. I got that around here somewhere, the medical journal. I love that stuff because it created these ways to fill in those gaps and let you then use your own imagination.
That's where I wouldn't be a fan today if it wasn't for all.
Well, exactly.
I mean, I love the shows, but the glue that kept me coming back was filling those gaps and those mysteries and imagining what all that would be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love Spock and Ponfar and Vulcan, all things.
Yeah, who doesn't love a little Ponfar?
That did it for so many people, not for me, as far as keeping your engagement among everything else in life that you can do as a kid.
Right.
And it was that was intriguing. Now we call it world building. We have all these fancy buzzwords, and once again, Star Trek was doing it before anybody had a word for it.
Sure.
It was a new paradigm. But
and honestly, here's the thing.
You're a Star Trek fan. I thought you were supposed to have. Do you not understand what 800 years later means?
Right. And that's the thing. I think I would not respect a show or a movie or whatever that felt like it had to walk me through explaining every single thing about every single character. I need enough to know who the character is and what their relationship is to the other characters. But I don't need a show to walk me through. Like, can you imagine in the pilot of Academy if we just stopped for like 3 minutes so we could do a little, mini documentary of like,
Well,
so here's Lura Thok's parents, and here's 800 years of backstory of why the Jem'Hadar are like this now, and here's what happened after the Dominion War. I don't care. I really don't care.
well, I care too. I care, but I don't
Yeah.
have to have it all right. If they're not, if
That's
there's
the
a
thing.
reason
You
not
don't have
give
to
it
have your
me
hand
right now,
held. Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
See, John, I had a suggestion for you though. So there's a podcast out there. You may love it. It gets into historical aspects of the Star Trek franchise.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. It comes out on Tuesdays also. It's called The Trek Files.
Fascinating.
And I believe they did an episode once where they looked at the original writer's guide. And this is so crystal clear. There's a section where I believe the gentleman who created the show, Gene Roddenberry,
heard of him, big fan,
says, don't worry about our science fiction gadgetry right now. Matt Dillon does not stop to tell you how his 45 revolver works.
Right.
Joe Friday does not stop to tell you on Dragnet how his police revolver works.
Yeah.
We will that if you think that's what the story is all about, don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. In
the moment. Now, yes, it's the world. I get off on all of that. Of course, that's why I'm here. But it doesn't have to be right there in the moment. In fact, it would look a little fakey.
It would.
That's it wasn't organic to the story.
Yeah, that's just it. It would take you out of the story. And I also have enough faith in the writers to realize, like, if there are things that are important, they can and probably will be revealed down the road. I have enough patience to say, I'm going to give it 6 episodes. This first season, we're going to give it 10. We're going to see what happens.
But you're right. We're not only spoiled by all the 70s, 80s fan-driven works. We're spoiled by the likes of Mike Okuda and Rick Sternbach and Doug Drexler, who took it upon themselves as fans to backfill all that so we wouldn't have some of the shenanigans of the original series about, discontinuity or people coming up with harebrained, reasons for things. There's times when you do need it and it's a story revolves around it.
Right.
And they pre-canonized, they pre-retconned everything. And now we read what they did at the time and we're spoiled by that.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to Dayton Ward. I mean, he is a Star Trek novelist, also a consultant with CBS Paramount on these new shows. And I love he did a post the other day on Facebook about the fact that we saw a Sharon in the background in an episode of Academy, and there were fans losing their minds. How can we see a Sharon in the future when we know that Lokai and Beale were the last of their kind? But you don't. That's the thing. And he wanted to explain what hopefully should have been obvious to people paying attention. The Sharon are very long-lived. We know that they were at it for 50,000 years. We know that they're spacefaring, warp-capable.
That's it.
And when we arrive there and let that be our last battlefield, those are the last 2 that the Enterprise encountered. Those are the last 2 there that they know
on their
of.
homeworld.
Yeah, at their homeworld. You've had 50,000 years for these people to get the hell out of Dodge. Go somewhere else. Maybe some of them felt the same way as Lokai or Beale. Maybe some of them didn't. Maybe some of them figured it out, And
can I just add to all of that logic?
Yeah.
Discovery had a Sharonian a couple of years ago, and we went through all this then.
Yeah. And in the Section 31 movie.
Situation.
Yeah.
So I want to know who the gold guy is with the black.
Oh yeah. Kind of looks like actually one of the aliens from Flash Gordon, 1980. Sam Jones, Max von Sydow, one of my favorite all-time movies.
Go Flash, go! Go Flash, go! Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I partly. I'm loving the show. The 4th episode, which the world's going to see here in another couple of days. Really. I said it really got me with my gut, in my head even. And that's even before the storied 5th episode we're all waiting to hear that we've already heard about. It's going to be a doozy.
Episode 4 is so heartfelt and also so steeped in lore in a great way, in a way that I feel like
is small L lore.
Yeah. In a way that I feel like isn't just spoon feeding Star Trek to you, but if you are steeped in lore, I think you will appreciate what they do with those stories here. And I also feel like, more important to my purposes, they're painting with this sort of like broad mythic brush, which I really, really respect. And at the end of the day, a heartfelt family story. So it hit on so many levels for me. Come back for episode 5, because I feel like I'm going to wrap that up with an unpopular opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have not. I've wanted to, but I have been so deluged with deadlines and projects that I haven't got ahead. I'm barely keeping up with one at a time. So I'm still in there, but I'll just say about 4. I'm like, oh my God, if 5 is half as good as 4, then it's something. I'll just say, to add to your list of what's great about episode 4.
Yeah.
That if we're going to tease here, but tease with some conviction. A lot of the folks, my little peccadillo about what's different about the 32nd century gets a huge fill in, if not on the technology side, the what's been happening in the galaxy side.
Yep.
And it's combined with a personal story.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's there. And for people who have been saying, where are the...
Now you know. Now you're going to know.
Now you're going to know.
Yeah.
Through one of our characters. Well, there's so much that's top of mind. I was going to jump back in our chat here.
I'd love to know who's there and what they're saying. I hope it's
my
all
communities
flattering.
Now, what's cool is I've seen a huge spike on my replays of Tuesday Live, as well as Second Opinion. And the Second Opinions I've had like 1,000 and 1,200 views already for the first 2, which is crazy, which is 3-4 times more. And it's always what I expect. I guess the people that come over to everything Trekland, like they come over to everything Roddenberry and Mission Log, kind of reasonable people who can talk about their criticisms, but they're not just, but I'll get there. And then I'll notice about 3 or 4 days in, here come the 3 or 4, and they're always in a row. Just a little, and it's obvious. Like, did you just read the headline and just spout something?
Exactly. Look, and I'm grateful.
It's like clockwork. Let 3 or 4 days. Like I have gotten, yay for me. Like the show, I've hit some kind of a defensive perimeter around the Doomsday Machine, and I've set off an alarm somewhere, and here they all come all at once, but not until 3 or 4 days have gone by.
Yeah. Well, look, 2 things about that. One, I am super grateful that our audience, 99.99% of that audience, they match us where we are. Like, they're there to have a conversation, a robust, sometimes disagreeable, not a disagreeable conversation. We can disagree without being disagreeable. But they match us where we are. They want to have a conversation about ideas. Part 2 to that is to say, all of those opinions, all of those ideas are welcome. Nobody is required to like everything that they watch. I like to find critical points in there where I can take a show to task. And again, come back for episode 5. You're going to hear me wrap things up in a way that maybe you're not expecting, but that's okay. Because then I want you to come back and tell me why you loved it, or why you didn't, or why you found something else that affected you one way or the other. I want to make sure that those are good faith arguments. So I want to make sure that we're talking about the ideas and not just picking on an actor or getting all worked up about a design choice, whatever the case may be. Again, don't care about those things. I really don't.
Right. Right.
Who's yelling at us, Larry?
No one's yelling at us. Everybody started off talking about the weather and the cold and where they are, and
I
they're
feel
thrilled to see us together. We people actually may hear us at times, but we're not together. So
I feel lucky that we are where we are, and it's warm. And I know that various people in our Mission Log community are spread out in a lot of places. A lot of people dealing with intermittent power outages, and hope everybody's well.
Yes. Well, Earl was in.
I know. Yeah. Earl's seemingly always in the line of fire.
I'm just going to throw one over here to Sherry's in North Carolina, and she's been still going over to where they had the floods last year because it's still in bad shape. Anyway, and she's kind of just reflecting everything. We were talking about the cold and the whatever going on right now in the and she says, yes, tough time for many in the nation.
Yeah.
But this is a refuge and a safe space for the day. So yay.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm just looking.
And by the way, I was having a conversation with somebody about that the other day, that it can sometimes feel a little disingenuous that we go on the air and we talk about science fiction, or we plan our lives doing other fun things, and there is a lot of crazy, disheartening, depressing stuff going on in the world. Allow yourself some time to disengage from that and engage in the things that bring you joy. Also thoughtfulness. I mean, look, Star Trek has a heart of political and social relevance that will always be there, but can also give you that aspirational lift a bit.
Well, and for us anyway, and maybe for fans enjoying what we do, but for us, I get tinges of guilt.
Yeah.
That I'm sitting here, wallowing and delving into a fictional universe while there's this going on. But I've had so many people, and they're saying it today, that you just mentioned, you have to take a break, but also if you're going to not just take a break, but recharge. To go out and do how you're going to face the world again. What better way to recharge than with Star Trek? What's more affirming? And reminding you what the better days can be. It's like an Edith Keeler speech. I feel like I'm jumping.
Well, look, there's one of the recurrent themes for me that always resonates, that always shows up in Star Trek, all the way back to TOS, and all the way up to, as far as I've gotten, episode 5 of Academy. Do we live up to the values that we profess that we have? Can we trust ourselves when we say that, certain humanistic ideas and ideals are to be shared with everyone? And whether you are a photonic or an organic, or a human or not human, the beauty of the stories that Star Trek tells is that all of those aliens are us. All of those other life forms are us, because this is all we've got. We only have the human experience. So we use fiction like this to explore those aspects of ourselves and hold up a mirror.
I'm sorry. And as we know, the human adventure, the human experience is just beginning.
Yes.
Okay. I'm kind of catching here. So we were talking about comedy forecast. Yes, I agree with the multiple viewings. I end up doing that for your podcast. Well, comedy, you should remind us what your podcast is.
Yeah.
It really tests how good or bad an episode is.
Yeah. That's that really is the thing. And there's so many times where I'll watch an episode and my gut reaction is, I hate this. Right? That's my gut reaction. And then I have to go back. But the next time I go back, I have to take notes. And then I'm trying to pick apart, okay, like, why did we choose to tell this story this way to get from point A to point B to point C? And by the end of it, ask myself, but what was the story we were trying to tell? Or what was the point we were trying to make? And look, even if I still come away not liking an episode, most of the time I find an idea that resonates. I can still go, oh, wait, the writers were grappling with this, or they were posing this very interesting question to the audience. It was just clunky to get there, you know?
There is still a difference. That old line about no one sets out to make a bad movie in Hollywood, but you've got intention and execution, and you can critique them both.
Yeah. Look, I'll point back to when we first started Mission Log, and we were in the TOS days, and right there on the calendar, it kept getting closer and closer with Spock's brain. And we're like, oh, what are we going to do with this? It's the worst episode ever. It's not. It is a weird episode. It is a clunky episode. But I challenge you, go back to Mission Log and listen to our discussion of it, because we actually found cool ideas to talk about from that episode. It's still... It is ripe and ready for MST3K, right. But there are ideas at the heart of it still,
What's that old line about the worst Star Trek is better than 75% of the best of the rest?
Yeah, right.
At any point.
Right.
Television small screen has gotten much better the last 10, 15 years, I would say.
Yeah. And look, Star Trek fans, we have had mini golden ages of TV. Star Trek fans, again, with a little bit of a short memory and not realizing it, there was an awful lot of bad Star Trek. And if you're going to criticize, you got to realize that even your darlings, even your precious series has got some really bad episodes.
And that's why in the years when I would sit down when I was doing the companion and then all the Berman era, I guess, and would sit down at the end of the year, and I always appreciated how I didn't have to press or pry, and sometimes I was surprised. I just remember when everybody, Brandon and Ron, and everyone sat down the end of 5th season, 6th season, and said, "Oh my God, Aquiel! Oh my God, Aquiel! It was the worst show we've ever," and it's like we didn't even get there. Yeah. And I always appreciate the writers knew what was clunky, and look, we had to,
of course,
Brian going, we just had to stop. We had to stop. We're working on it and take it down, and let them shoot it, and it was not ready to be filmed. And that's the old 26 episode season at work.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's a question for you from Duralta.
All right.
Becky, who's in Germany. Correct me there. I think Germany,
okay.
Not Austria. What was your most favorite episode of all Trek to this day?
Oh my God.
And where you thought, and the one where you thought, that was not necessary.
Interesting. Okay, well, let me preface this.
1 and 1, John.
Yeah. Let me preface this by saying that there is the mission log rule. And the mission log rule is that every episode of Star Trek is simultaneously somebody's favorite episode and somebody's least favorite episode of Star Trek. Wow, of all Trek, if you go across all series.
I don't say I hate these questions, but I hate these questions.
Yeah, but there's so many ways to parse that, right? There's so many ways to pick it apart. I mean, look, I think there are some obvious iconic episodes. Like, yes, if somebody is brand new to Star Trek, and I have some friends, some recent friends that I've made, and we've been kind of watching classic movies together and picking things that we have not seen before or haven't seen in a long time, just to view them with fresh eyes. Neither of them has seen Star Trek. And then the age-old question, well, where do you start? Okay, well, they like old movies anyway. They can accept a show made 60 years ago.
They're acclimated to the
Yeah. Okay. So I said, look, City on the Edge of Forever, because you can watch it standalone. You can get the Kirk, Spock, McCoy dynamic, and you can get the heavy sci-fi idea, but you can also get the sort of like existential contemplation from the show. So it's just great in that way. I would also say from TOS, the Corbomite maneuver really set the tone for Mission Log, because that was the episode that early on, better than anything else, defined the stakes and defined the values of the crew, which is, we don't shoot first. We accept our fate. We accept responsibility for our decisions. We can be better than what confronts us. And by the way, what confronts us is not always the aggressive enemy that we may think they are. So it really just lays the groundwork for what I think is the best of Star Trek's principles.
When you were in order, did you start with the cage, and did you go in production order?
No, we went broadcast order.
Okay.
Yeah. But the cage was, so the cage was kind of a special, even though it hadn't been broadcast until 88 or whenever. I'm going to throw in a real curveball here, though, and say that also one of my favorite just episodes of anything, any Trek, is Mortal Coil from Voyager.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Brian Fuller.
Total curveball. By the way, I saw Brian, and he was at a distance, and I didn't get to go see it. He was at the Blade Runner screening the other night at the Dolby. And it's just clear as day, and then I didn't get to catch up with him. Yeah. Mortal Coil is such a dark horse kind of candidate for me, but it's one that I appreciated when I first saw it. And like a lot of good Star Trek, when you revisit it years and years later, speaks to you in a different way. And we recorded that discussion maybe about 3 or 4 months after my dad died.
Oh.
And I already appreciated the message of the episode, but it was sort of reinforced and recontextualized for me. And even though that episode ends on a downer, I think, again, fans, use your imagination. The next point after that week in between until the next episode, you get to say, well, now Neelix has this ability, he has this freedom to define his life on his own terms. And he has this freedom to be able to make the connections that matter. And I think there's a tragedy, but there's also a real beauty to that episode. I can talk about the big existential questions. I think it's wonderful. Worst of, oh my God.
And
where do we Code of Honor, what was it? What's the DS9 with the game? Move Along Home.
Move Along Home.
Yeah. See, can't stand it. But here's the thing. Dan Davidson from Trek Geeks loves that episode. And when I saw him last and we were talking about it, I'm like, tell me why you love that episode. He was like, because to him, it's like a Batman 1966, just crazy, just like weird. We're just going to be stylistically different. It makes me cringe. I hate that episode, but I love that he gets something else out of it.
Well, see, and I love it. I love that we have another Target episode like Spock's Brain or And the Children or whatever.
Yeah,
but I look at it because I know that it was meant to be a much different episode, and it came right after. It was the first batch after the pilot. The pilot went way over budget, and they started chopping everything. And this is the show that was horrendously chopped down from the concept it was supposed to be. Yeah, and I chalk that up to why it's, it could have been a very existentially Twilight Zone kind of vibe. Yeah. And now it's just laughable.
And The Children Shall Lead sucks. I don't love The Empath, but I know that a lot of people love that episode, and I should probably go back and rewatch it. What's the one with oh my God, Lazarus fighting in a corridor for 45 minutes.
I've just gone blank. No,
What of Lazarus?
Yes.
That sucks. That's a terrible episode.
On many levels.
Yeah, on many, many, many levels.
I was, the second or third time I saw it when I was 15 or 16, I'm like, wait a minute. The antimatter Lazarus is walking around on the Enterprise.
They're trying so hard.
And nothing happens.
It's so bad.
He doesn't have a little glistening magnetic field around him as he's walking around.
It's so bad. And then, we just finished our coverage of Voyager.
The Alternative Factor.
Alternative Factor.
And I did not look it up. It just hit me. Okay.
Good.
And I knew somebody screaming in the chat near the fresh end of the chat.
Yeah, that is how it always happens. Yeah. And in Voyager, there were so many bad episodes. but you roll around to season 7 and you go, oh my God, they saved all the bangers for now, because it's sort of that like it's like they realize, well, now's our chance to really tell the story. And look, I think Endgame is a disaster, but I think there are so many leading up to Endgame that are great. Critical Care, amazing episode. Author is very good. It was misplaced because you should have had that episode. I can't remember if we said it should have come before or later, because then you had a really crappy penultimate episode too. But yeah, I agree with you. Trek Exploration, Voyager season 5 to 7, some of the best, absolutely.
And then what? I think that was the 7th season. They had an episode about finding Klingons in the Delta Quadrant. Wasn't that?
That was some fever dream.
No credit for that.
Holly Amos, who's on the other side of that wall, has joined us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Workforce. Yeah, Workforce is cool. See, the weird thing about Workforce is, I feel like there aren't really stakes because they don't know who they are, and if they never found out who they were, then okay, they're just their lives aren't that bad.
if they don't ever find out who they are, they deserve to lose their show.
Right. So yeah, there's a lot. I just realized that I can look at the chat here, at least from
Yes, you can.
this.
Yeah, you can. I was gonna let me back up though here because I always love this. A shout out for Prodigy. Yay! You found season 2 in Germany, I guess.
Okay.
Peralta. So good for you. So you're quoting Trek Explorations, loving Starfleet Academy.
Okay.
I was having this conversation with Jesse at Crusher Convo, and my old friend. I think I forwarded you her quote the first week.
Yes.
Libby from Arkansas, who doesn't do a podcast.
Yeah.
But she's been around fandom, and she's going to love episode 4, I know. I started to say her original fandom in Trek. She's a big Ferengi and Rom fan now, but she started with Klingons. But she says what I keep thinking, and we don't have the metrics yet, aside from what we see flying by. I think the vast majority of, what I always call armchair fandom just said, oh, it's a new Star Trek. And they're watching and go, okay, well, I don't know about this, and I have questions here. Like a normal reaction. But I think the vast majority of the armchair fans are fine or curious, or they have something you're not. I mean, I'm still not up with the language. And I've had to headcanon a whole explanation for that, because that's the one thing that takes me out of it. Other than that, I'm fine so far, and I think I'm gonna love it even more. But I think there's a chunk of that great the part of armchair fandom that does get online are blown away by all these seemingly unanimous negative views of the show, even though the professional critics all seem to love it. It's the loudmouth fans with YouTubes and the people who never talk about Star Trek until right now. And now they're all of a sudden going to talk about it.
Well, and
then I think there's a whole awakening of those fans, like almost afraid to watch it. And then they watch it and they're saying, what is what's the fuss about?
That was me with Enterprise. That was me with Enterprise. And it took me until I didn't start it until season 3, because I was just aware this is the less good Star Trek show. So, hey, Joel, the characters are really interesting.
Making you want to know more about them. I'm so way behind, guys. John, if you see something popping up.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, they're really...
Tell me a time code and I'll zip down to it, and I'm going to apologize to everybody.
Yeah, no, there's some excellent comments here. I like the fact that Dr. Bashir, I presume, started with that fun idea, Louis Zimmerman, and it evolved into, oh, by the way, Julian is genetically enhanced. Look, I do think that's one of the best things about the way that old Trek, pre-2017 Trek was produced. Long seasons, 26 episodes, episodes that then get to be kind of altered, or seasons that get to be altered in the middle of production, because then you can latch on to an interesting idea and realize we could explore that in the next episode, or 5 or 10 episodes from now. Now you finish 10 episodes, you're already in the middle of filming the next season by the time those first episodes are being seen. And that's I think that's unfortunate.
That's also the discovering things in the dailies.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's Worf and Dax having incredible chemistry, whether it's the original Spock McCoy feuding was something that wasn't planned but came out of Here's an interesting theory from Gerhard, one of my portales from Germany.
Hey.
Thinking the massive negative campaign against Starfleet is helping the show because it's so obviously in bad faith. Uh-oh. Lost you, John. Come back, little Sheba. I lost John. I'm gonna get back into. There we go. Boom.
What happened? Everything just went away.
I don't know, unless I accidentally did that, but I
don't know.
It wasn't intentional.
Well, hopefully everybody's still there. Hopefully we're in the same place. What was Gerhard saying?
He said it's such an obviously stupid looking negative campaign, obviously over the top, that it's bringing more attention to the show by being so obviously out of touch.
The one, you have to keep this in mind. You have to keep this in perspective that Star Trek's audience is already small-ish. It's big, but compared to Marvel, compared to Star Wars, whatever. Okay. But then you also have the problem that now Star Trek is streaming, because every show is streaming now. So that's why a show like Andor, which is great, has a way smaller audience and way smaller recognition than Star Wars at large, right? But I encounter people. Look, I was on a trip a few months ago. I was wearing a Strange New Worlds jacket. Right, it has a Strange New Worlds Starfleet logo on it, and a lot of people recognized it as Star Trek, and they wanted to talk about it. Had no idea that there were current new Star Trek shows on the air.
Period.
No idea.
Even including Discovery and Picard.
At all. Yeah. So we're already dealing with a relatively small audience. So again, those negative voices are going to be amplified because you don't have a wider audience saying, "Oh no, this is good." Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that angle, but yes, the negative nabobs of what is it? Spiro Agnew's
right.
The nattering nabobs of negativity.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I missed some of the other comments.
They're all kind of just echoing.
Yeah.
The characters are great. Hey, Christoph's in Austria.
Okay.
My Portales. A lot of Academy negative from TNG era fans over here, meaning Austria, Germany, Europe.
Christoph, I agree. Just as far as a show that has captured me from the beginning, I am enjoying this more than Discovery or Picard in its early days. Whether or not it continues that way for me, whether or not I stay engaged with it, who knows? Yeah. But yeah, it has had a very strong start. Yeah.
Oh, we laugh about this now, but Gerhardt's saying, rewatch Naked now, knowing what we know about COVID.
Yeah, total disregard for quarantine. Yeah, yeah.
Then swallowing a communicator.
Yeah.
Hey, Anne-Marie.
Hey, Anne-Marie.
By the time I get back through my chat, the way I do this, people could have come and gone by now. People drop in and drop. I have people on shifts coming through our chat here.
Yeah. And by the way, I think that with Discovery's production history, that is going to be a whole other book and probably a whole other documentary, somewhere down the road. But Academy feels a bit more sure-footed. Like, this is definitely the story we want to tell. These are the characters.
Wait a minute. You said Discovery doesn't feel very
sure-footed. Yeah.
Out of the gate?
Yeah,
really?
Shocking, right? Shocking.
God, how did that happen? And this does. Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
Hey, John, what is your top 5 TV season finale? Whoa.
Of Trek?
Of Trek, because, we're dealing with what about 10 series? Or are we talking about series in general? Because, if we're to talk about TV in general.
Mr. Man from Uncle. Come on.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, the Man from Uncle botched their final season. Yeah. I think Mad Men had a great ending. Let's see. Yeah, Rose, fill me in here if you mean Trek, if you mean seasons versus series, etc. Yeah.
Now, Rose is British, so she may be saying, series for season there.
Gotcha. Two cultures divided by a common language. Yeah. The best finale. Okay, all good things will be left behind. Okay. Not TOS. Not because they didn't get a proper send off. I think TNG is still excellent. It's probably still the high watermark for a series saying goodbye. With the caveat, I think DS9's final 9 episodes are remarkable. And I love some of the plot threads. I love following Damar's story. I love following, mostly following Ducat's story. But I do feel like the end, like the actual finale, I think it kind of undermines some of the quality of the lead up to its own finale. So I hold that just like in slightly less regard than I do all the build up. Not that big a fan of the Picard finale. Not that big a fan of the Disco finale. I think Lower Decks did a great job with their finale, and also stuck the landing because, like, I love that Lower Decks constantly fooled me. I would start a season and I would go like, why are we telling this story? Why does this episode have like no bearing on that other episode? But then the last 2-3 episodes, you'd be like, oh, they brought it all together and they told this really thoughtful. So I was constantly impressed with Lower Decks that way. Voyager screwed up their own finale.
Yes.
They really did. They really, and it's too bad because again, season 7, there are so many great episodes, and that finale is a great example of what could have been, but they
just some random comments. We had some kudos for the Lower Decks finale, not only wrapping up putting a bow at the end of what they had accomplished.
Yeah.
But opening season up, finales and wheel.
What's that?
You have a multiverse wheel they gave us. Now you can go. You can do crazy wacko alternate now as a piece of canon. Yes, I thought Prodigy and Lower Decks did all kinds of amazing things in the thing.
And you know what? For that matter, it's another example of the penultimate episode of Enterprise, and I'm doing this on I think I last did a series watch through maybe 15 years ago, but like Terra Prime, great, fantastic.
The Demons Terra Prime 2-parter there.
Yeah. The actual finale sucked, but everybody knows. Josh,
except for the Archer giving the speech,
right. It has moments. Moments. Yeah,
a lot of great guests in that little celebrity guest.
Doug Drexler.
Headline readers. Oh, damn it! I did it again, John. I'm sorry.
Hello.
That is definitely me. It's when I'm passing the cursor over, it catches something that sends you away.
Somebody's giving it, but I'm getting faster on the redraw to jump back in.
There we go.
These are great comments, y'all. Love seeing this.
Still some weather reports are all through here too. This is great. We're getting Boston, Germany, Austria.
Oh my God.
The UK.
Love it.
I'm so intrigued to hear the not so favorable reviews for 5. I guess he's talking about
of Academy.
Now, Treksploration has a podcast, so I'm thinking he has screeners too.
Great. Okay.
So you all can have a pre.
Or
maybe not, but you can set it up. Yeah.
Apologies. I mean, this is
it's
the
Albie.
risk.
Albie's running the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the risk always of kind of like teasing. We can't really talk about it, and I know that's not cool, so I apologize. There were many good things to say about that episode, but again, when I watched it a few times and took a step back, I was like, okay. No.
Mona's in Indiana. Have to keep busy or I'll drown the misery of what's going on. Well, then there's your start. How is that happening? I swear to God. I swear to God, all I did was unclick her quote, and you went away. And I don't know what's going on.
I'm getting quick on the draw. I can.
Yes, you are.
Right
hey, look who's here. It's our friend Rico.
Hey, Rico. Hey. He's telling people to have whatever opinion. Yeah. See, exactly. You get it. Of course, you get it. Yeah.
What is the difference, John? This is what I keep going back to. I think we were all blindsided in the late teens about this.
Mm-hmm.
Where did this negative faction of fandom come from? And there was and I did a very early Trekland. I did one of these, my topic shows live. There was a story, and it had to be 2018, 2019. It was pre-pandemic. A USC grad student. He did a paper, and it wasn't Trek. It was Star Wars and Rian Johnson, whatever the hell movie it was.
Yeah.
Star Wars fandom and he, for the first time, this made sense to me. He did a study. He used Twitter from a certain time period, from like 3 months before it premiered to 3 months after, and he boiled it down to how many of the he categorized every tweet that had anything to do with Rian Johnson or his movie.
Yeah,
and then how many of them were personal versus about the movie. And how many, and then within that, how many of them he could trace back to were actual real people, and as far as he could get, were bots, not just trolls,
Yeah.
but were bot accounts. And if it was, this would show up as a bot, but looking at how many accounts versus an account posting. So if it was like one person posting once or twice a day versus one person posting 500 times a day.
Right.
And distilling that, well, that must be a bot. Let's look at the actual accounts representing an opinion and a point of view versus just sandbagging the internet.
Yeah.
And he got it down to, no, you're only talking about 5% of all people talking about the movie, even if they are people. Anyway, he cut it down to size instead of just, we were also overwhelmed with the early deluge of all this.
Right.
And whenever this comes up, I just go back to what has changed, because when I see human beings in person, when I go to a con, when I talk to real people online, most of the time that level evaporates.
That was going back to Enterprise. So the first Vegas convention I went to was 2006. It was the 40th anniversary, and Enterprise had just been off the air for a year. And I remember thinking, well, I really like that show. It's not perfect, whatever, but I like it, warts and all. I thought the cast was great, thought the production design was great, but there was all this noise online about how terrible it was, and everybody hates it, it sucks, and thank goodness it's over after 4 seasons. But I went to Vegas, and I was blown away because people there in person loved that show, and Scott Bakula had a bigger audience than Shatner did. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, these are all just people here to have a good time, celebrate what they love.
And the worst you hear is, well, it wasn't
Did I write for Enterprise? Was that?
And the worst you hear is, well, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, well,
That's
exactly.
the bottom line. Nobody
Exactly.
is raging, stomping around, talking about it. That's where you get the, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That simplicity.
Yeah,
I invited you to do this comedy to remind everybody. So yes, your podcast is The Topic is Trek.
Excellent.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. There's a lot of, there are things that I hold negative opinions about, and there is Star Trek that, depending on when you catch me, I will unleash a lot of negative opinion. But same thing about Star Wars or whatever, because you mentioned Rian Johnson and you mentioned that, but here's the thing, it doesn't keep me up at night, and I certainly don't need to go online and yell about it into the clouds. And I guess the other thing that I also don't feel compelled to do is make that my personal brand online, like just follow me to hear me yell about the things I don't like. First of all, it's not the job of a critic, but
Apparently, unfortunately, in our culture today, there's a large chunk of the population who are attracted to people who just stomp around and scream all day long.
That is the truth.
Long.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rose, my big question is, will Starfleet Academy, if I got Paramount Plus for a month, will Starfleet Academy...
Oh, you mean can you watch all of it if you just get it for a month? Yeah. I mean,
wait for it to finish out its 10.
Yeah. Wait until you get all 10 out there. But you could just do it for a month. Yeah.
There's some backup, John.
Oh, okay.
I remember Mortal Coil going, wow, they're actually going to take a chance giving, not that as an actor he couldn't handle it, but they're going to let Ethan's portrayal of Neelix take on such a serious script, and he pulls it off. I remember that being my original reaction to the show.
Right. Well, and look, I'm glad that I was fooled by Voyager a second time around, because the first time around, I remember I caught it in bits and pieces, and there were things I liked, things I didn't like, characters I liked, characters I didn't like. When it came time to watch it again for Mission Log, I'm trying to watch it with fresh ideas, fresh perspective, and I hated Neelix. I was like, oh, who's the clown? Why are we doing this? But I was fooled, because the further you go along, you realize there's depth, there's tragedy. He is the clown who is crying on the inside. And they very cleverly let all of these elements about his background continue to fill in the story of who he was. And then you could see all these other moments and go, oh, of course, that's why he is how he is. and these are the things that inform his decisions. So yeah.
And even more impactful than now that now I got my head into Voyager, which is something for me to say. This is even after they'd done Jetrel first season, which was supposed to give you a lot of his tragic backstory in the family and the Talaxian fought a war that they lost, and
which again, comes back to have resonance when you get into season 7. What's the one where he leaves Homestead?
Yes.
Yeah. So watching that and then remembering, oh wait, but he went through this whole thing that we explored in Jetrel, of course,
And he was a nomad. They pick him up as a nomad, so he's a trader, but he's way out of his trader thing. I'm just looking at the time. We've gone over your hour. I didn't know.
All good. Rose, to answer, is it worth it to? Well, worth and value are subjective, but yes, to get 10 episodes worth of a show that is, high on production value, high on action, some very good drama for a month, knock through 10 episodes. Yeah, absolutely. Do it.
Mona just said, I got keeping up on the titles, and Joel says titles are hard. I'm going to make flashcards.
I was telling Jessica last night, I've forgotten more about Star Trek than I remember. And I find that the things that stuck with me early, like TOS trivia, that has stuck with me better. But now if I think like, oh wait, what was that TNG or DS9 title, that escapes me.
We're working down on 1,000 people. I keep forgetting that there are new Scouts little episodes coming out now, and
I'm very curious.
Officially including them in the Memory Alpha's include. I noticed they're including them in the tally of Star Trek episodes, and I'm like,
canon. Wow,
we just have an asterisk category over here. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
everything has to be cataloged and kept up with.
Sure, I love that they do that. Thank you, everybody at Memory Alpha. You've been incredibly welcoming to us. Discovery season 1, very different from 2 through 5. Even then, going from 2 to 3, very different. Going from 3 to 4, very different. It's so strange. Yeah.
Let's see. Now I've caught up the chat to all the talk about finales. Let's see. People talking there.
Having a problem just now.
I figure Damar had, people would argue, and some people hold up big for Nog on this one.
Sure.
But yes, I would say he's in the top 5 there, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely loved that character. Casey played him beautifully. Absolutely terrific.
Starbase 80, who knew where that joke
was.
Let's see.
Star Trek Scouts, I do want to explore a bit, and because here we are, House of Roddenberry, and pretty well connected to Star Trek, but there's still a lot of mystery about like, where is this going? How is it doing? There's a lot to learn there. So I want to learn more.
Let's see. Everybody talking about how Endgame was not. Oh, hey, Chris is here from. Chris has done a great job on just the last year and a half here.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you.
Really good quality shows out there and supporting. Let's see.
As you're looking, there is a question here pretty recently. Isn't Academy no longer in streaming charts? And do you mean as far as like ratings go?
Supposedly it's falling out of the Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Which there's a chunk of the pundit class that's making a big deal out of that. But I'm like, well, everything. I mean, it's. I don't know. I don't know how much of the viewing right now is being depressed by all the chatter.
Sure.
And I just think it'll get there. It has to. And I think at some point, when the younger characters are more revealed. Look, we don't. I said, and I'll say this at the end, during 3, I repeated. I said, "Oh my God, Jaden is the character that I want to." I like them all. I think they're good. We've had Kadam. Got to make sure you say Kadam and Jaden differently, but we've got a lot of the pivot characters at the beginning. She's been in a lot of scenes. We really don't know anything about Genesis yet. Everything about her has been in the moment.
Yes.
I still don't know what a Darshaw is.
Yeah.
I realized, I don't know if her dad, the admiral, is he a Starfleet admiral or is he in the Darshaw
Right.
military?
Right. I'm
She's a
very
military brat and
curious.
moved around, but what is, we don't know anything at all about her except she's really competent and she's
Yeah.
seems to be born to lead,
Yeah.
but we don't know anything about her really.
Yeah. I'm very curious. And look, at the
And
end of the
Jaden
day,
and Sam's got to develop and all of that. Anyway, there's so many
sure.
more about these kids that I think is going to be, has to
At
be
the end of the
revealed
day, I
more,
mean,
and that's going to leak out to catching more eyeballs and more attention when it filters.
well, the challenge is going to be
They're also
whether,
savvy TikTokers too, and that's going to.
yes, the challenge at the end of the day will be whether or not this perceived new audience for Star Trek actually finds this show. Because right now, everybody who's arguing about it are all people who are already steeped in Star Trek.
Who all look like us.
Yes, yes. So if there is an audience of people who are attracted to the YA stories, who can get clued in and interested enough in the stories of these like 17 to 21-year-olds and their adventures in space, great. I hope that brings you in, and I hope you stay for the morals, meanings, messages. But I'm super curious how effective that's going to be. Some good questions here at the.
So here's Pedro. Pedro has had some prickly opinions in the
Yeah.
past, but he's for one thing. This is out there.
Mhm.
Technically, the contract runs out, I believe, in October, and technically, contracts run out. I talked about this maybe with you.
Yeah.
I know they've been laying low to see what and I've talked about this
Yeah.
for ages. What does all the management changes mean?
That's the thing.
Or
Yeah.
even having for either Alex being renewed or a new person, or even not having a TV kingpin and a focus on movies.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's
all of
that's
that.
the problem. Yeah. And honestly, nobody knows right now other than those few people who are actually involved. And even then, I believe Alex said in some interview somewhere that like he hasn't had a conversation, at least of late. So a year ago, if the question was, when does the contract run out? And you said end of 2026. Okay. Since then, we have had this takeover / merger. There is a whole executive shakeup. Who knows what the business priorities are going to be when all the dust settles from that? So anybody who is going online right now and speculating and saying that they know, they don't know. That's just plain. I do want to address Bill Thomas here, who says seeing John's voice come out of a face always freaks me out a bit. Face, eyes, there's a body attached to this as well. So
but those are earphones, right? That's not an indigenous.
These are a separate piece, yeah.
Okay,
as are the glasses, yeah.
So
hi, Bill.
I didn't want to step into any of that, but I did want to say, just as a cherry on top of that discussion, I noticed that, as you would expect, somewhere between we're busy cranking out all these last 2 seasons of Strange New and season and a half of Strange New and 2 full seasons of Academy, that Alex Kurtzman and company have been very low key. They've kept their nose down.
Yep.
And suddenly the premiere, New York premiere, suddenly he's talking about contracts and renewals.
Yeah. And
I need to talk to them, but I'm thinking the smart, watch what they're doing, not what they say, kind of thing. Yeah. And to have been heads down for so long, with the whole world knowing this was happening, and with all the changes, who's owning Paramount and what are they doing?
Right.
So many levels of change, and being smart not to talk about it. But suddenly he's talking about it, which I didn't know if that was a clue or not. But if not,
right,
I'm thinking that whatever, there's change in the air, whatever shape it takes, including, as I said, they may not focus on TV. They want something they want a Trek on the streamer. They're not going to discombobulate or combine Paramount Plus. They've said they want to do that. And they've said they want synergy. They want not a big wall between movies and TV, and they want Trek on Paramount Plus. So there's that. But then will it just be one-off series? We don't know. We don't know. So there are a lot of options. It's not just a black-white.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Paramount wants a feature film. They want a Star Trek feature film. Apparently, the new powers that be are very much in favor of Star Trek thriving as a franchise, so I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I
As
have
long
my
as
own.
we don't have 12 years of no Trek on TV. That
Exactly.
would
And look,
be
I have my own opinions about what could or should be done with the streaming platform itself. I think there are some better strategic opportunities with it, but I'm in an office here, not at an office down there on the lot. So, yeah.
your phone number does not begin 323-956.
Exactly. There's a question here.
Yeah.
Do you think we get Starfleet Academy on Blu-ray too, or will it just be a streaming show? Look, it'll hit Blu-ray at some point. It might be a long way from now. Look, they're actively finishing up season 2. Beyond that, who knows what'll happen? But if it goes 5 seasons or however long it's going to go, probably those sets would be delayed a bit, either season by season or big box set. But yeah, I think that physical media will show up.
Don't underestimate the ability to monetize yet another.
Yeah, exactly. Or look, for that matter, jump over to another streamer somewhere. And I saw that about Ethan Phillips, great. Yeah, did a good job. Yeah, the Flatter episode, right? Yeah, which always makes us ask, where the hell is Samantha Wildman? They mention her name.
Yeah.
But like Samantha Wildman is just MIA. Yeah. Which was just such a good opportunity for Voyager to develop the B team a bit. You could develop and have a rich tapestry of characters, but they didn't.
And here's Randy saying, just not interested, but I'm not going to go out of my way to be negative about it. I just have a right to my opinion. Yes,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you feel like it's not for you, it's not for you. That's
and
fine.
You have a right to do what thousands of people did. We talk about TNG and the TOS, especially the zine generation, the editors, the fan fiction people who were mad because it was not about Spock and Vulcans, and they thought they were being erased at the beginning. Right. Until the TNG numbers just swamped them anyway.
Yeah.
But the DS9 and Voyager era, when people were just falling off, for one thing, they were splitting the audience. Other science fiction was coming out. TNG was its own best enemy for people keeping up with it. But it was hard to keep up on DS9 on linear stations and when they were the lower numbers. And I remember this did not get into the DS9 documentary. I thought it would be, but I remember Ira interviewing me for the documentary, and I said, well, so many markets where DS9 was on the NHL, the hockey channel, or the NBA basketball channel. And whenever there was a game, DS9 would get bumped to 2 or 3 in the morning. And Ira just looked, this was in 2018. And Ira just looked at me like, what?
Yeah.
You were the exec, you knew this. You knew this. And it added, it wasn't just viewer numbers, it added to the frustration of, I can't follow when they got more serialized. That was a new paradigm for people. And then I remember people saying, well, I missed 2 weeks of DS9, I give up.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But that was that's how now that, and the streaming, the bingeable era has brought back DS9 and Voyager and Enterprise. I mean, from their numbers now, fandom is way more than it ever was back in the day, first run.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that can happen. We can't tell what our viewing and media and everything are going to be like.
Sure. Melanie, hard agree. Yeah. I would love it if we got so much as a mini series or a one-off feature length of Prodigy and or Lower Decks. Just both so well done. Yeah.
I know I have plenty of chat left. John, I don't want to chain you here.
No, I'm okay. I was editing the Trek files, so yeah.
Here, I will give credence to what you were reading a minute. I've caught up with where you're. So there we are, everybody.
You're welcome, Bill. To freak you out.
So while I'm looking at chat, did you want to say something about like what's happening? Are there any other changes in the offing for the Mission Log family? that you talk
Yeah,
about?
yeah. No, I can talk about that. So Norman, my co-host from kind of mid DS9 through the end of Voyager, has stepped back. Now he's still around, but he's stepped back from the day-to-day. So there will be a new co-host for Mission Log going forward to Enterprise. So that, yeah, stay tuned for that announcement. That partly is the impact on the hiatus, that we're just kind of taking time, retool, redevelop a bit. We're also trying to introduce some new elements into the production workflow for Mission Log, and just make sure that we just tweak the show a little bit, not reinvent, not stray from our mission
Mhm.
overall, but just tweak the things that need to be tweaked, because making a podcast now in 2026 is different from making a podcast in 2012. So that's just the reality of it. So stick around. Like I said, a lot of people have been asking, but if you follow our socials, like, this is not a secret to anybody. When we come back, will not be a secret to anybody. So yeah.
Okay. Good, good, good. There was that's okay. I thought you mentioned something else, but maybe that wasn't for public consumption yet. Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know. The Mission Log coming back, and new co-host, and
Did I misread? Did you say something about something related to Enterprise?
well, Mission Log will be on Enterprise when we come back. We our
Okay.
kickoff
That's what you meant.
will be
Okay, I
Enterprise.
thought you
Yeah,
meant.
we are done with Voyager.
I
Yeah.
thought some kind of a special thing about the series and like the live show or something. Anyway, here's just some random comments in the middle. The reason we don't much about this has become a new thing. Yes.
I see
Yes,
what you
yes.
did there, Chuck.
So I think Bill got into the
Truckspiration.
stream later here. You noticed him a minute ago. I'm a cranky old man, and I like and then Sherry, Mob from North Carolina. I'm a cranky old woman, and I like
and look, here's the thing again. There may be elements of the show that do not resonate with you. They don't resonate with me.
Mhm.
But I think watching one and deciding like this is great or this is terrible isn't accurate. You're going to have to give it 3, 4. 4 again, just so good. But let's see where we are at the end of the season. Oh God. Oh,
Here.
Brian, how
So
dare
Randy
you?
is the one that
How
just a
dare
minute
you?
ago said. Randy said that he didn't care for it, but he's not going to go around ruining everybody else's jump. He
Yuck
says he
somebody's yum.
commented on
Yeah.
a different thread that he wasn't interested in Ken. One person responded like a crazy. See, that's there. I have seen this, and all I can say is I think there are people that they identify so hard with something that it's really hard. They can't separate the show from maybe something that they personally, which is great on the surface. If they personally are so bonded with an aspect of a series, they're not in a position to be able to take even sane criticism. I'm not talking about the haters.
Yeah.
I'm talking about or
Yeah.
the commercialized, the profiteering folks, but just a general sit down. So that's a thing. And that's just part of why I hope we've all learned in nearly 10 years here, or over 10 years, about how to conduct online conversations. But
Yeah.
some people aren't.
Well, yeah, and like here's the thing, all this sort of speculation in the chat now, like Starfleet Academy. I'm fine with Starfleet Academy being a 1-season show, and then somebody responded, "It's going to be 2 seasons." Well, yeah, but first of all, they're already in active production on season 2. Like
They're about to wrap it.
They're about to wrap it. Yeah. And there's no reason to think that it is not in development for season 3. So I think we can all, as far as armchair predictors of what is to come, I think we can all kind of chill until we see what actually comes down the pike. And also, here's the thing: just because we like or dislike something doesn't mean that it just suddenly will be stripped off the schedule, or that it will carry on forever and ever. See also Star Trek, the original series.
Yes.
That's. So I think we can all just wait and see what actually
Uh-huh.
what actually
Okay,
happens.
Ranger Donnie, who's the big Power Rangers fan who comes over.
Mhm.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it boring. It
Mm,
was my least, even though I made a turnaround and I got a really good appreciation for it.
mm,
It was my least favorite of the three, but that doesn't mean that I hated it.
mm. Yeah.
And then I turn around and 4 is my. See, it's hard to talk about early
I know.
episodes because the
I
first
know.
two, the first 1 or 2, have to be pilots and exposition and just
Exactly.
they're not typical that way.
Yeah.
So it's hard to compare early episodes with the first one because
Yeah. And like I said it in Reactor, and by the way, I'm just going to shamelessly
he
plug
said
here.
encounter at Farpoint. Okay.
Yeah, right. Not my favorite TNG by any means.
Or pilot, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a clunky time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. DS9 has a killer pilot. Voyager has a killer pilot. TNG does not. I will say, shameless self-promotion, go check out Mission Log Reactor on YouTube or on our Patreon, because we are doing like scene by scene kind of nitpicky deep dive. You may find things that Jessica and I discuss that you agree with or that you don't, but we're trying to be thorough. And I said in our discussion about episode 3, I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you're going to remember this as the laser tag episode or as the heist episode, the Ocean's 11 episode. And your enjoyment of those two elements may vary, maybe not. You get some character moments, you get some stuff in there, but it may just not stick out because it is about the pretense of the situation. Fast forward a week, and now it's about character. So I think wherever you fall on what of those elements appeals to you, you're going to find something that you like either way, And by the way, any of you here who want to sound off with us Monday night, again, patreon.com/missionlog, all opinions are welcome. Just call in, we'll chat,
My second opinion is still old-fashioned. It's just me talking with you, leaving comments. But I still love it when, again, it's spiked. It is hugely spiked with these first 2.
Yeah.
It's 3 or 4 times the views and the comments. So it's like, yay.
Yeah, right.
There's definitely interest. And again, 95% of the commenters are all thoughtful. I passed one along to you that's the high school counselor that works with the ADHD. He's been following up on succeeding posts.
Great.
Giving me a huge, and threw some data at me of studies that were done, ADHD and the autistic spectrum and gender, and those studies and people that are, anyway, he was correlating it with some of the ways they're writing the scripts and dealing with the different characters in a Star Trek filter, and was fairly happy with that. But also when people critique things about the show, he's saying some of the critiques are coming in that are out of touch with what modern scientific data studies are finding. And it was all fascinating. It was like, we should figure out a way to do something with this, because he wrote little mini essays as comments in the YouTube.
I mean, I will.
Folks, go watch. Go
and good night, Rose. I will leave you all with something that I thought was really interesting. There was somebody, I'm not going to name him by name because Larry, you and I both know him. I'll tell you offline, but long-term TOS, just steeped in that. That was his Star Trek from the very beginning. That is his point of connection with Star Trek. Watched everything else that came after it. And for a long time was just sort of ready to argue the point with anybody else about what made his Trek better. and yeah, right.
From 1987 onward.
Yeah. And I hear from a lot of people who, whether privately or online, they sort of go through this mental exercise of like trying to prove why their opinion is right. Well, like, I'm going to spell out for you why my preference for TOS or TNG, that is the correct opinion, as opposed to this other thing that you like that is not the one true Star Trek, right? And at some point, this person's attitude shifted, and the more he was going to the Vegas convention and meeting fans of all different ages, and he was podcasting too, so now he had more of like an obligation to talk with people, not just yell his opinion, you know?
Into the ether. Yeah.
Yeah, but the opening line, the opening question became after establishing, you know, what you're a fan of. Well, tell me about your Trek. Well, what is your Star Trek, and what do you get out of it? So then it wasn't about like, let me force this opinion on you. I want to hear about this thing that gives you inspiration or entertainment, just simple enjoyment, whatever it is. Tell me about that. And any fan who can kind of shift their perspective around a little bit instead of starting with, here's what I love, and I'm going to tell you why I love it, and blah, blah, blah. No, like, make this a two-way street. You know, allow yourself to hear that other opinion. Might be positive, might be negative. You might walk away not agreeing, and that is okay. But you have to be able to meet people where they are. Also a theme of Starfleet Academy.
Yes, and as you were talking there, I had a moment, but it wasn't within Star Trek. It was my friend Lee, who's business consulting and management, and is the one but a huge comics fan, and is the one, but also pop culture and Star Trek. But he's the one that got me with his little armada going to San Diego Comic-Con when I had no clue, because it was comics, and went several years, and finally, at some point, he said something, or he wasn't talking to me, he was talking to someone else, and I heard him. And he was talking about how when he was a kid, I don't know, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, et cetera, were what gave him hope for the future and an optimistic future and diversity and all that. And I said, whoa, that's Star Trek's shtick. What do you mean? Because to me, comic book and superheroes had always been people running around in wacky uniforms, and they say that about Star Trek, but no, they're Starfleet. Hundreds of people have the same, thousands of people have the same. It's not little one-off wackadoodles with superpowers, and you never, that was it's like, I can never take any of this seriously. And the ongoing, the fighting and just the way comics are constructed. And he said, no, this was what you talk about Star Trek. That's what those were for me when I was 8 and 10 and 12. And I went, oh, maybe I should look at this differently, because it's kind of not a secret that Marvel, much less the DC, is kind of a big thing in movies. Once they made the jump off the page, it's kind of hard to argue that they're running the pop culture. Now, that may be fading now.
Yeah.
But they've run the pop culture roost for 20 years. So maybe I should listen to but as you talk about the guy coming out of his TOS, that's the way I was about looking at the whole.
Sure.
Not that I would never disrespect or gatekeep.
Yeah, you're right.
Just what in my gut do I get about it? And for someone to testify that way, I was like, okay, well, I can relate to that.
Gatekeeping is a terrible thing, and we all, look, we all, I think, just we reflexively do that to some extent anyway, but we have to be cognizant of that. By the way,
Michael cheering you on here to get on with Enterprise, because it will be amazing.
Boy, tell me about it. Thank you, Michael. Duralta Trekkie.
I'm just throwing some things up here before you go.
Go
ahead.
Yeah. The Athena, I'm dealing. I still need a map. I'm still not totally sold on the Athena, but it's very interesting.
I have a source that's told me that there is indeed a deck plan, and that there are indeed the major locations. And we're seeing some. Engineering is on deck 8, apparently.
Okay, I need to see this.
I saw that as a graphic on a panel. So anyway, you started to say something.
Okay, Duralta Trekkie 6088. Ever heard about Space Patrol Orion, aka German Star Trek? It doesn't ring a bell, but please send it to me, because I am super curious. Maybe we covered it in Sci-Fi 5, and I'm not remembering. But please, that sounds.
What was the?
It's called Space Patrol Orion, aka German Star Trek. And I'm so there. If it's like Star Trek but angrier, then
I've seen the Turkish Star Trek ripoff.
Yes, yeah, I've seen that too.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes, the one with the whales and First Contact. Very good. Let's see here. Now I've seen Space Patrol, the original 50s Space Patrol, and I like that a lot.
I can tell you're fairly new to Trekland. Wackadoodles.
One off Wackadoodles, my Aquabats cover band.
Thank you, Maury Hurley, of all people, for giving me
Bravo.
the term wacky doodle is what he says he called Gene's Star Trek universe.
Great.
So, and he was the head writer for a year and a half.
That's great. Nice. This is excellent. This is a lot of fun.
Group. We have had people shifting in and out, and I'm kind of the warm up act, I think, later on for Ryan's show and the Star Trek Family show, and it's kind of funny. People come here, and then it's turned into this 5-6 hour marathon of people.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what are you saying, Melanie? You're waiting for Hollow Worf to show up at the Academy.
Well, look, Melanie.
Noga Landau says she was a huge. She had her first Star Trek crush was on Worf when she was 4 or 5.
Oh wow! All right.
Her dad. The night, I tell you what, the least expectation I had was thinking that we had, I won't use that term, crumbs after the big New York premiere with all the cast and the blue carpet and all the headlines that came out of that, including some of these Alex talking about future and all of that. And then they had a little event that Collider magazine online sponsored with the studio, and it was a little, mini mall. One of 5 theaters had this. It was an advance list. They had prizes and some press and a lot of industry and friends of friends. So it wasn't just a fan audience.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had an after Q&A with Noga Landau, the showrunner. No stars, just that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go just to see what happens. And I want to hear what other people's reactions were. And that was interesting. But the best part of the evening, and I did my first, I'm doing, working with Trek Culture now too.
Yes. Yeah.
My first piece with Trek Culture was talking with Sean Farrick about that night and the things I learned about Noga, who I had talked to a couple of times on the run, read her interviews, and learned so much more about her and gained a whole lot more faith for this show because of what she was saying.
Okay.
And the fact that that Cardassians scared her, and that her first crush was on Worf, and her dad kept steering her away to not watch original series. No, just watch Picard. Just watch Picard.
Oh, God.
He says, I'm making up for that. I've been making up for that. But that and a Voyage and Captain Janeway was her guiding star after that. And just everything that she had brought to, and how her manager called her and told her that that Alex wanted to talk to her about running Academy. She said no, because she freaked out because she thought she would mess it up. Anyway, it just gave me a lot of faith for the future. And I haven't seen much reporting out of that night aside from a couple of things, but I think it's good background as we watch these shows unroll, that she's very much I get the feeling that the show's pretty grounded. When they've done new things, they've done them for a reason. Yeah, it's not just random, let's do that because that sounds cool.
By the way, to our Germans in the audience, I just looked up this sort of German parallel to Star Trek. I'm going to mess up, but whatever it is, Orion, whatever the German word is that precedes Orion, and it looks cool as hell. The production design looks awesome. So, yeah, that is great.
Oh, wow.
I want to see more.
Your first Trek crush was Locira. Well, Lee Merriweather would be tickled to hear that.
It's not a bad crush to have.
Yeah, with or without a belly button.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for setting me straight. It's Trekland Thursdays Live, and then the main viewer. Brian. Yes.
Okay. Excellent.
And then you're doing a live feed of Joel building his Enterprise D Lego. They've had just a live camera sitting as they built.
That's awesome.
Lego D for 3 or 4 hours. Just
riveting.
No big deal, it's there.
Riveting. I love it. Cool.
Okay.
All right, gang.
Well, John, I think we got all the news out about everything that's new and same, and tweaked a little with Mission Log.
Sure. Yeah.
Reactor on Thursdays for the big
Thursdays for Reactor, Mondays for live. You can get it all at patreon.com/missionlog. If you don't follow us, please do, at missionlogpod on Facebook, and we're on Threads and just all the places. Look up Mission Log.
All the places. And I just I'm going to repeat here, while you're at minimum, you can do more, but at minimum, the dollar level, Mission Log Roddenberry Discord there, Patreon.
That's the
to
thing.
get in the Discord, you're also set up for the Trek Files.
For the Trek Files live
tonight.
Mondays. Yeah. And there's just so much happening there. And by the way, like the unheralded hero of our Discord is that a few times a year around holidays, Earl, our technical director, will do the Earl Green, the Logbook live stream. And you get like classic Gene Roddenberry shows and classic commercials and all this stuff on a constant, sometimes upwards of like a 72-hour stream. So that alone, even if you never want to hear us talk again, that alone is worth the price of admission.
And listen, just a quick shout out here, Genealogy, which doesn't have, which like the Trek Files doesn't have Mission Log in the title, is an incredible show. And they produce the hell out of it. And it's Gene Roddenberry's other scripts, Westerns, occasionally a sci-fi, occasionally legal drama, medical drama, whatever. The early days of TV.
Everything.
But you hear so much about Gene writing for Have Gun Will Travel.
Yeah.
It's incredible. They put so much quality into. There's recreation. I've contributed a couple of recreated scenes if there's not clips available.
Yeah.
If you are intrigued by how we got to the Gene of Star Trek era, that's the best. Even more than we've done a couple of times on the Trek Files, even.
Yeah.
There's the deep dive. And
exactly.
Earl puts tons of times into that.
It's so good. So well produced.
It is. John, thank you so much for joining me. I can't believe it's been coming in on 8 years and we haven't done this yet.
I know. We'll have to do it again.
5 years of my guesting era.
Yeah.
And haven't done it yet. So anyway, thanks much, man. And I will talk to you later about that Trek Files we're trying to do this week.
Okay. Touch you later, everybody.
Okay, take it easy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. I think that's going to do it. Thanks so much, guys, for giving us such a great chat today. And yeah, everybody, I love you guys who aren't used to seeing John's face with his voice, because he's out there. They're on Monday nights live. They took a break here, but they've been on the Monday night show, as he said, for several years now. I think that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for being here on Tuesday. That was a change up, different, and it'll be really easy on Scott and Kyle this week, I hope. But I would be remiss, of course, if I didn't I mentioned my Patreon folk. So yes, thank you, Chuck A., James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Albert Gunn-Janssen, Lawrence Todd, Chris Jiggins, Mitch Keith, Keith Rombach, Josh Patton, Pranakasha Productions, J.R. Poole, Comedy Forecast, Andrew Jasinski. A lot of you were there with me today here in the chat. I know. Thanks so much. And our live wires, Gary Williams, Robert McLean, Byron Bailey, David Gall, MJ Frug, Chris Garris, Brandon Coles, Dave Gregory, Jesse at Crusher Convo, Donna S. Runyon, and Casey Shafsky. Speaking of Patreons there, I have my simple one. It's $5, $10 a month, patreon.com/Trekland Live for the shout out and access to early Portal 47 backstage guest night, which is the only guests we have. That's what Portal 47 is all about. Yes. And all that the Trek file, the Trekland Treks is about, is giving you a whole different kind of Star Trek experience. No, it's not the stages. That's for everybody. That's for James and the gang in New York. These are the outdoor actual location spots around Southern California that we can get 4 in a day. Get in touch with me. We'll have a fast food lunch. It'll be the thing that you want, that I help you set up. And then I'm your concierge. I'm your cosplay wrangler, your prop holder, whatever it is, your photographer buddy. Trekland Treks as we look into a new year and celebrating the 60th as you're out and about traveling. Maybe consider doing that, right? And hey, we did mention the Trek Files a lot. It is a Tuesday, of course. The new episode is out. What's the new episode? Oh, this is crazy. I just did, it's Cash Edwards, who is not a name you're going to know very much at all. He was a guest earlier in the season, but we've come back around to the planned Quester revival with the great Herb Wright, the late great Herb Wright. And Cash talks about working on that project with Herb in the early aughts Gene had left us. Major was still around. He was so excited to be working on it, and then Herb up and died. Suddenly, the project went away. It's a great insight into, the character that was the genesis of Data, the show that was only survived as a 2-hour movie that was supposed to be a series until Gene got stabbed in the back once again. Herb was going to bring it back. We talk all about this fascinating chapter. Before Genealogy can get to Quester, we're doing it on the Trek Files with the co-writer, Cash Edwards. It's a great little unknown corner of Gene's career. And it does impinge. It does affect Star Trek's development. So check that out if you could everywhere. thetrekfiles.com is the new official place there on Memory Alpha with the documents, the memos and things, and of course all the hot links back in, and an audio player right there where you don't have to jump away from the Memory Alpha archive or wherever fine podcasts are sold. Of course, podcast.roddenberry.com. It's where all the Roddenberry podcasts are available. But meanwhile, it's just me, Larry Nemecek, here on Twitter, X, and on Blue Sky. Larry's Trekland is the Facebook and the Instagram. And yes, the YouTube. Like and subscribe and do all the things while you're here. And portal47.net. It's a new year. 10 and a half years now we're into it. 10 years down at the portal. I'd like to think we pioneered a few things. I'd like to think that a little bit of the interest finally into the folks beyond the actors that brought you the Star Trek. The cake beneath the shiny icing, without which the shiny icing would just be a lump on a plate. Still very sweet. Not the same experience. Check out portal47.net if you can. We'd love to have you in the portal this year. That is going to do it, gang. Let me just say thanks so much to John for jumping in today. Give Mission Log a chance. The Reactor show on Thursday. I know it's a big scumble. There's a scrum on Thursday when everybody wants to be first with their review show when the 6 a.m. embargo lifts. But Roddenberry Mission Log is out there too. Of course, Second Opinion technically comes out on Saturday, Sunday when the dust has settled a couple of days and I can react not just to the episode that's new, but to kind of fandom's reaction to it at times. And we've had that lately. So the first 2 episodes are out. My view count, as I mentioned, is way high for Second Opinion. Shout out to Scott and Kyle for their editorial and producing chops, putting out Second Opinion now, as we've got the last few years. And I can't wait. To finish up 104 and talk about that as we prep for this illustrious 105 that's coming down the road. So, gang, thank you so very much. Look, we're in the middle of winter and there are streams. I mean, please, please, please take care of yourself. Do all the things, all right? And please stay woke. And what I mean by that is do all the things. Check the sources. Make sure you're on accurate ground, would you? And yes, don't go to sleep on anything. Because we want you to be around to get through the rest of Academy and on into the 60th anniversary year, please. You know what I mean. Trek well, everybody.